We're Robin and Steve. In the last episode, we explored Cape Brett and then sat through a cyclone. After being boat-bound for more than 4 days, we stretched our legs and then set our sails. We were more than ready to continue drawing our red squiggle, south of the Bay of Islands. We left off in Opua, in muddy waters filled with flood debris. But shops were open again and we had to go to the chandlery. On the way we saw this engine being delivered into a catamaran. Definitely not a job to do during the cyclone. Then for us it was off to Russell to get some shopping. We were thrilled with how well stocked the shops were post-cyclone. Now vegetable rich, we kayaked back to the boat. Then set off watching the muddy waters stir up the salt in our wake. Next stop, Oke Bay, with its stunning waters just begging for a kayak. But sadly, kayaking would have to wait. We had a blocked pipe in the plumbing. Like cholesterol in our arteries, calcium blocks the pipes in sea-going boats. With the plumbing pipes cleared, it was time to work our heart pipes. Humans are problematic, spreading cowrie dieback disease, weeds such as this passion fruit, and bringing pets where they don't belong. We saw plenty of dog prints. Here's a little reminder that there had just been a cyclone. But for most of the track you wouldn't have known it. It was the perfect temperature to seek out a waterfall. Well, maybe a little cold, but we were pretty dirty. And something about the positioning and the intensity of this waterfall made it the best shower I've ever had in a waterfall. Now clean, we could kayak about and look at the caves in the area. We tacked our way around the hole in the rock, but I didn't film it this time because it was pretty bumpy. Our next anchorage was the old whaling station of Whangamuru. In the late 1800s, whales were caught with nets before being killed and processed here. But later, the use of harpoon guns meant that they could kill many more whales. In the mid-1900s, a sunken ship left a crude oil slick, causing humpback whales to avoid their old route, and this whaling station was closed. But the relics remain, and this is where the whales would be dragged ashore to be processed. But we were here for another waterfall, this time just for viewing rather than showering, as we were still perfectly clean. And maybe it was cold. Climbed a hill to take a better look at the harbour. That done, it was time to practice a handstand. In my sandals because the beach was pretty pebbly. Meanwhile, a boat had anchored next to us, and the crew called Steve over. They'd caught a huge marlin and gave us some marlin meat. We'd never tried that before. Sashimi for dinner. And there was still time to check out this cave before bedtime. On we sailed, and as we peeked out of the porthole, we also got reminders of home. our fading portraits of Brewster the rooster and Sneck the snake. Our main goal was to see the Poor Knight's Island, with Mimi Fangida as a nice stopover, a chance to refuel. We didn't expect much of this walk through sheep-smashed hills, but we were pleasantly surprised by the spectacular views and the rich bird life. This track is managed through the Department of Conservation, and it still takes us through private farms. The wetlands were great for bird watching. With beautiful beaches all around, you can see why walkers would want to book into one of these Department of Conservation huts. We got to see a few pairs of paradise shell ducks, putangi. This sign was a pretty graphic reminder to dog owners. It said the walk took us through a working farm. We had a good rest and left before sunrise. We were off to the Poor Knight's Marine Reserve. Oh, and by the way, in this boat, we've gone more than 4,000 nautical miles. These islands are tall enough and vertical enough for the forest on top to have been protected from destruction. And since the fish are protected, perhaps it's a remnant of what New Zealand used to look like. We weren't sure if we could anchor in this place, since the sheer walls continue down underwater and the bottom is rocky. We'd have been happy to just sail around and look, but we did find an anchorage as another boat pulled out. Probably the prettiest anchorage so far. Time for a breakfast of ceviche, lime coconut chili fish. Fish viewing started from the boat. And landscape designers would struggle to create such a beautiful vertical garden. The clear water sparkled with swarms of fish, blue mau. It was time to go kayaking. Kayaked into the cave, dressed and ready to snorkel. Big boats come in and out of here, but we were very glad to have it to ourselves. Pays to get here early.
Checking it out.
Already this was a highlight of our trip, and we hadn't even jumped in the water yet. The fish here are protected. We hope for more protected areas because this was the best snorkelling we'd seen. In the dodgiest anchorage we'd had so far. In New Zealand. Very deep. Thankfully, our masses of anchor chain did make it back on the boat. If the weather allows, we will return, once we start heading north again. But onwards for now, to Tutakaka, where we attempt to walk to a lighthouse, use a drill to power a food processor, get supplies at Whangarei, and then explore Great Barrier Island, Aotearoa. If hiking up crystal clear rivers and smoking fresh fish sound like something you like, then join us next time. If it suits your schedule and if you feel like it.